Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to science. All right, the lymphatic pathways, we're going to walk through the process. And as you can see, this first little pathway right here, starting with lymphatic capillaries. And just to note, the lymphatic capillaries, this is a one-way system. Where blood, we have arterial going out, we have venous coming back, and it's a cycle. Lymphatic is not a cycle in that same way. This is going to be continual flow towards essentially the heart, but a vessel's preceding the heart. And then you're going to have this continual uptake always going towards the heart. So we have lymphatic capillaries. Lymphatic capillaries are going to lead to the vessels. The vessels are going to lead to the lymph nodes. Longer lymph nodes are going to lead to the larger lymphatic vessels. Then you're going to have your trunks, lymphatic collecting ducts, and then you're going to have the subclavian veins in the thorax. Both the left and the right subclavian veins are involved, but not equally. So let's start by dissecting this out by lymphatic pathways. If you're doing a guided notes section where I would put the term lymphatic pathways in the dead center of the page. I want to put a branch out for lymphatic capillaries, lymphatic trunks. And so each one of these has its own set of facts, information to it, as this page of paper essentially has an overview of this. So lymphatic capillaries, they are closed-end tubes, referring to they're not like a normal capillary bed, which leads arterial to venous. Instead, it just kind of starts. And it's going to start at a normal capillary bed where blood supply is. And this is going to be picking up interstitial fluid. The networks are going to be right there with the blood capillaries. Now, if you're doing a comparison of what this is like, the composition of a lymphatic vessel is going to be very similar to a vein. And when I say very similar, I mean very similar. It's going to be even thinner than a vein, but to note, it's thin. And it's also going to have three different layers. Its composition, it's going to have the simple squamous epithelial. Simple, singular layer. Squamous, very flat-like. The simple squamous, these are key in absorption. And that's exactly what's going on here. So tissue is going to have the interstitial fluid. It's going to enter the capillary from the lymphatic capillaries. As soon as it is taken into the system, that interstitial fluid, as soon as it's absorbed by that lymphatic capillary, all of a sudden has the name of lymph. These are then going to merge into larger lymphatic vessels. So here we have the lacteals of these lymphatic capillaries, and they're going to go to the lymphatic vessels. And you can see that this is a capillary bed with blood. The interstitial fluid is going to be all around it, and this is going to be absorbing that interstitial fluid. So now that we've led from the lymphatic capillaries at the lacteals, now we're moving into the lymphatic vessels. Once again, very thin-walled like a vein. And another characteristic that's similar to the vein is they're going to be valved. They're going to contain semilunar valves. So they're going to have an endothelium. That's going to be the inner layer. It's going to have a middle layer that's really small. It's going to have smooth muscle and elastic fibers and connective tissue. These things don't expand a lot. They don't contract a lot. They're going to be a one-way system. And these lymphatic vessels are going to send that to larger areas. And those larger collecting areas are going to be trunks. This is showing the valve and how you have stuff on one side preventing the backflow. So we went from lymphatic capillaries to lymphatic vessels. Now we're leading from the lymphatic vessels to an even bigger highway of lymphatic trunks. These are named regions. Lymphatic trunks include the lumbar trunk, intestinal trunk, intercostal trunk, bronchiomediastinal trunk, subclavian trunk, and jugular trunk. These are all going to drain into collecting ducts. So we went from capillaries to vessels, vessels to trunk. Now we're going from trunks into ducts. I know, it may be confusing. Think of it as small roads leading to bigger roads, leading to even bigger roads, leading to even bigger roads, because that's very much like what's going on. The lymphatic collecting ducts, there's two major lymphatic collecting ducts. There's the thoracic duct. This is the longer and wider used. Um, it's going to begin with a sac called the cisterna chili, and this is going to empty into the left, not right, but the left subclavian vein. Left subclavian vein is going to then merge into the superior vena cava. Now, if we look at the right lymphatic duct, it's going to be the smaller of the two ducts. It's going to begin in the left thorax, and it's going to empty into the right subclavian, and this is going to drain the upper portion of the body. So you can look at some of those things that we were just referring to, the different trunks, thoracic ducts. And so this is just an overview, and you can see where it's emptying into up here into the right and left subclavians. Here's lymphatic drainage. Once again, it is showing all of this area draining here and this area draining here. All right, guys, that was short and sweet. Let's get on to more stuff.